Enjoying Equitana, and I hope you haven't spent all of your money yet. I think I gave it a bit of a shove yesterday. So this morning I'm going to talk to you about being safe on the trail and about how to make the most of being on the trail and enjoying it. I'm always amused when I had a friend who said to me once, oh, any horse can be a trail riding horse. Well, yes, but not every horse is an enjoyable trail riding horse. And what we're looking for, and I'm sure what all of you want, is to be able to go out and have a nice day, hour on the trail and get out of the arena. I don't know about all of you, but I get a little bored of going around and around my arena, okay? And there's a lot of things you can do, and I set up a lot of cool obstacles and stuff in my arena, but at the end of the day, it's the one spot, and you're in that one spot over and over and over again. And it doesn't matter whether you just want to enjoy your horses and just poke around at home and go to a riding club, or whether you want to be a top-level competitor. We need to keep these horses' minds fresh, okay? And we need to keep them interested in what they do. There's nothing worse, I don't know if any of you have ever done it, but when you ride a horse that has just been ridden in an arena over and over and over again, and you can feel that they're just dead with what they want to do. They're dull, they're bored, and it's not the horse's fault. Okay, it's up to us to think about what we can do with these horses to make their life more interesting. And even my competition horses, they all spend time out on the trail. This horse, he's competed all over the country. He's competed here, he's competing here today. I still take him out on the trail, okay? Because he wants to go and do other stuff. And we're lucky enough at home, the girls were saying, we run clinics on the trail at home. We have 2,500 acres of both open country and timbered country that runs onto the back of national parks. And so, we've got a lot of room to go and play and go and try and do stuff. But you don't have to have a lot of room. And to be honest, you don't even really have to go out on the trail to keep your horse interested. You can set stuff up like this at home. Those 2 trees came from the reject shop. These are some rails and some barrels. You don't need a lot. But what I like about having this kind of stuff is the fact that I can start to practice in a controlled environment what I want to do when I go out on the trail. Now, the difference between your arena at home and when you get out on the trail, the major difference, is the fact that in your arena at home, it's a controlled environment. Okay, even here. Look at us here. I know there's a lot of people poking around, but at the end of the day, it's unlikely that a herd of kangaroos are going to come flying through here, or like happened to me last year when I trotted up over hill and here were 2 deer standing looking at me. That sort of stuff isn't going to happen here. Okay, I can control this environment a lot more than what I can control what goes out when I'm outside in the paddock. So if I practice with my horse and I work with my horse in the controlled environment, what I'm doing is I'm increasing my chance of success, okay? So if I'm in here and I'm arena at home, and what we've actually built above our arena at home a trail course where we've got, tractor tyres and logs and different things that people can go over, crisscross rails and things like that, where people can get out if they're a little nervous and they're uncertain about taking their horse out in a big paddock. They can get out and they can start to practice everything they're going to do when they get outside. But again, it's that controlled environment. And what I am doing by taking away the uncontrolled variables is I am building my confidence and I'm building my horse's confidence. And that is so important. Any of you who've ever lost your confidence, you'll know how hard it is to get it back. So if I can make sure that I'm guaranteeing success by maintaining a high level of confidence in both myself and my horse, how much better time are we going to have? How much happier are we going to be to go out on the trail? I used to retrain horses for people, and we'd have horses turn up, and we had horses turn up at home that had never crossed a creek, or never. Actually, I had one horse turn up at home that had never been up a hill. That's a little awkward. And if you're not a confident rider, if you're a nervous rider or you're a learning rider, you know, that kind of thing can be a little daunting. So why expose yourself to that? Okay, why expose yourself to that amount of fear in an uncontrolled environment? Why not set up some stuff and get things going at home so that you actually are confident when you go out on the trail? Now, I have to say something, and I'm not doing groundwork here today because I feel there's enough people who are covering that in other things, but all the obstacles that I work my horses on at home, I work them on the ground before I ride them over them. Okay, so, you know, if I was at home, I have a set of crisscross rails, sort of like this, but about sort of 10 long. I actually trot my horses through that, or walk my horses through that on the ground, like I lunge them through, or I have, you know, my tyres and things like that. Different things, like I have that's not edible. Does he look like he's starving, that he needs to eat a fake treat? You know, so we have like a bit of rubber on the ground with a log. You know, just simulate, I'm trying to simulate as many things as I can in that environment. And I'll work all my horses on the ground over those obstacles before I ever put this on their back and swing my leg over, okay? Because there's only one of me, okay? And some people I know are very happy about that. But there is only one of me, and I kind of would like to hang around a bit longer to torment some of you a bit longer. So, you know, I've got to look after me a bit. So I'm not going to take a horse that's never been out and expose them to a heap of things that in an environment where, you know, I can't control what's going on. So start on the ground. Do your groundwork, get things going on the ground, get your horse confident on the ground that he can do what you need him to do, okay? And then when he is confident on the ground and you're confident in him, then start to expose him under saddle. So, simple things. And obviously I couldn't put a big puddle of water in here today, but if you have a horse that is scared of water, okay, people will say, but I can't set that up at home. Yes, you can. Go and get I know there's a drought on, but go and turn a tap on somewhere and make a puddle of water. And if, you know, like, just have a little puddle of water and just work them through that on the ground. If that's not an option, and this is something I do a lot of, I work all my horses in their groundwork over tarps, blue tarps. I desensitise them to tarp first, but then I'll lunge them over tarps. Tarps are amazing things, simply because they look different to the ground. Imagine if I put a tarp down here and they rustle and they make noise. Okay, so, you know, that's again exposing horse. Remembering your horse is scared of anything that moves and makes a noise. Okay, so anything that moves or makes a noise, your horse is potentially scared of. Think about going riding through the bush. There's a lot of stuff out there that moves and makes a noise. Okay, so if you can expose them to things like that, again, in that controlled environment, things are going to go better for you. So one of the things we see a lot of with horses that come out to our clinics on the trail is we see a lot of horses who are concerned about confined spaces. Now, you think about this from a horse's point of view. This is a prey animal, okay, who spent 70,000 years surviving by running away from lions and tigers, okay? So he thinks that anything that he can't see, or like I said, anything that moves and makes a noise is going to eat him. So you put him in an enclosed area, like closed-in timbered country, okay? And horses who are not used to that sort of country will naturally become nervous, okay? Because he can't see. If I was to ride him down in through those stands down there, it would be the same effect. Because suddenly there's people popping from around corners and there's stands and there's corners he can't see. That's not really that much different to me riding in through tight scrub. So, what do we do to start to get our horses used to being closed in? We only need to set up something as simple as this, okay? So, and again, like I said, home, we do this with tractor tyres. The volunteers, I don't think, would have been very happy if I'd asked them to lug in 3 great big tractor tyres for me, so we thought the barrels would do. So, you know, we have the tractor tyres, and what we'll do is we have them set out in different spaces like this, and I will start by working them through the wider gap, okay? And I want my horses to be happy to work through that wider gap. Now, obviously Squiggles isn't too concerned about going through the wider gap. But if you had a horse that was, and I'll turn around and go the other way, if you had a horse that was concerned, okay, you have a horse that's concerned about being closed in. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to address that issue? Well, you have to make them want to go through there. You know, it's that basic principle that we talk about in horse training all the time of right thing easy, wrong thing difficult. You know, we have to make them want to go through there. So if you have a horse that's really concerned about this sort of thing, like I said, start on the ground. Get them used to it on the ground. But if you're out riding and this sort of thing happens, you want them to be happy to walk through there. So if you're in a horse that is concerned, work him over here. Make this area over here, and you guys can see I've actually left the line a little bit. If any of you have seen me do a float loading demo, this is very similar to what I do with my float loading demos. So, you know, make him work out over here, make him work until he's listening. So this might, like what you would, you know, you make him trot, make him work, trot circles, trot circles, trot circles, trot circles. Get him to where he's looking for a little oxygen. And by that I don't mean, you know, try and kill your poor horse. I just mean get him listening. Get him listening. You know, if your horse has been standing in a stall for 24 hours or sitting in the paddock for a week and you throw the saddle on, jump on and walk off, you know, quite often their mind's still back in the pasture or back in the stall. They're kind of not with you yet. They're thinking about what, you know, they're not thinking about working with you. So, you know, you need to get their attention. And this, again, is the beauty of groundwork, okay? So when you work them out here for a while, offer them the opportunity to go through. Now, if your horse gets here and starts to hesitate and slow down and back off, start working him again. Go round and round and round and round, making him trot, keeping him bent, because this is something that's really important. And something that people take for granted is the importance of the one-rein stop. Okay, so if I'm out over here, and let's say Squiggles suddenly decides he'd like to head to the gate, a one-rein stop has to become second nature to me. Why does it have to become second nature? Because it's my safety brake. It's the thing I need to go to when everything else is going wrong, okay? So how do you make it second nature to you? Practice. Practice, practice, practice. You know, and I'm from the generation, I'm probably the last generation that came through before natural horsemanship became a big thing. So, you know, when we had horses that bucked when I was a kid, you know, I was taught to put on two reins, you know, pull his head up, pull his head up. I can still hear my dad yelling it at me. Didn't even work very well, funnily enough. So, you know, so suddenly we get to this where, you know, we know this doesn't work. Now, you even look at this horse. When I grab hold of his head and pull, he doesn't look particularly impressed about it. Okay, so make a one-rein stop is second nature. Okay, so if anything goes wrong and your horse heads out, it is just second nature to bring him into your one-rein stop. On your one-rein stops, and this is something I see a lot at my clinics, and thank you, Squiggles, you just did it. People just let their horses walk straight on out of there. And you know, like they'll go across here, do a one-rein stop, and the horse's feet will still be moving, and they'll go, oh, good boy, well done, let him go. That's not a stop. Last time I looked in the dictionary, stop meant stop. 4 feet on the ground, like this, okay? So, and the other thing they do is what he did the first time is where you do your one-rein stop, and then as soon as people let their heads go, the horses walk straight off out of there. You have to always remember with your horses, it's what they do when you stop applying pressure that shows you what they're thinking about. So if I do a one-rein stop here, and let him go and he walks forward, what do you think that horse was thinking about? Was he thinking about stopping? No, he wasn't, was he, Linda? He's thinking about going, you know. He can think about going this afternoon. Today he can think about, this morning he can think about stopping. So if you're here working your horse toward an obstacle and your horse is a little concerned about that obstacle, if you can work your horse in a small circle, okay, and get them a little flex. Look at, now you just watch how easy it is for me from there to go to a one-run stop. If you've ever been to one of my clinics, you will know I'm obsessed by circles. Really, says Joe Scobie? Okay, so and the reason why I'm obsessed by circles is that circles allow you to do so much, okay? So if I'm riding a circle here and I'm trying to get through my gap and my horse decides it's all a little much and decides he's leaving town, my hand is set and ready to go to pull him into a one-run stop. Okay, if I need to take a second grab and shorten it up, I can. Okay, but it's about being prepared. Okay, so I'm here, I'm working in my circle, I've got my horse trotting around, I've got him working. Okay, he's starting to soften, and again, this is all that, it's about good horsemanship. It's about being able to feel that moment when your horse starts to soften. It's about being able to feel when your horse's mind starts to come back to you. Okay, so, you know, if you're riding the circle and your horse has got his head up here, sorry, Squeak, your horse has got his head up here and he's getting along a bit like this horse's mind isn't particularly with me right now because he thinks I've lost it. Okay? So, but if he's down here and I'm working him and then he comes down and his head lowers, remembering one of those basic principles, anytime his pole is lower than his wither, he's in a relaxed state of mind. Anytime his pole is higher than his wither, like there, he's thinking about flight. Okay, he's thinking about something that's going to eat him, or he's concerned about a situation. So anytime we can get him to, and you don't have to do this sort of thing, but anytime his pole goes down there, he's releasing endorphins which are helping him to relax. So if you're riding your circle on your in front of your scary object or near your scary object, and you feel that horse start to relax, take that opportunity and ask him to step through. If he gets to here and gets, circle him. We're not trying to win the Grand Prix show jumping, okay? We're not going to get in trouble for pulling our horse away from an obstacle, because you're not, if you were to ride in here and your horse balked and got scared and you stopped and went, good boy, good boy, good boy, do you think that is encouraging him to go through that gap? No. All it's doing is saying, if you stop, I'm going to pat you. If you stop, I've just rewarded the wrong behaviour. Okay? You have to be aware of the behaviour you're rewarding. A horse will always repeat a rewarded behaviour. So anytime that you have a horse that offers you a behaviour that you want, if you can reward that, that horse will offer it to you again. Okay? And the more you do it, the more consistent it becomes. So we're riding in here and we're heading through our gap. Now our horse gets to here, and this is what I see a lot of people do. And our person looks down here, okay? And now my horse is just going to go for one. I know where he's going to go. He's going to go to Nana because he thinks Nana might have licorice. I knew exactly where that was going to end up. But you know, here's the thing. It's what you do that helps your horse or doesn't help your horse. And this applies to every type of riding. Doesn't matter what you want to do. Your horse will travel where your focus is. Okay, 9 times out of 10. Never say never and never say always. Okay? So if I'm here and I've got this scary object here, or this gap, and I need to get through this scary gap, and I'm riding around here, and I'm looking over there at the gate where the volunteers are, that is not at all helping to encourage him to go through that gap. So, of course, what's the next thing people do? You say, look where you're going. And where do they look next? They look down at the barrel, or they look at the cone, or they look at whatever that is in front of them. So they look at the barrel. Okay, again, that is my body language. This is about you being responsible for what you tell your horse. So again, my body language is not saying, I want you to go through that. And if you guys are out on a trail ride, and you've got somewhere to go, okay, you need to be looking at the next hill. Okay? There's a reason why I take the clinics on the trail and not my partner Warren, because if you went with Warren, you'd be gone for 12 hours. Okay? So when you go trail riding with Warren, you're always looking to the furthest mountain and wondering if that's where you're going to end up. It's not hard to see where his horses see him coming and they leave, because they go, that's going to be a long day. I'm much more sedate. Okay, I look after people a bit more. But, if I'm riding through here and I'm asking horse, I'm going to look to the top of the stand behind you guys, okay? That's because, again, it's about focus, okay? It's my body language telling my horse where to go. If I'm focusing down here, and you watch, as soon as I drop my focus, oh, yeah. Okay, we've worked out the tree isn't any good. Guess where this horse is going to go? Yeah. Home. That's right. Home. He knows he came in here. Okay. He knows his stable is back down over there. So my lack of focus just let him go where he wanted to go. But the whole time I've been talking to you guys, if I've got my eyes up and I'm looking, you can see, like, I don't have to do a whole heap. Just steer him. I'll back it up with the reins a bit. But, your focus, and you have to be responsible for your focus and where you're steering your horse, okay? So so I have to tell you all, this horse doesn't do poles. I put those coloured poles out half an hour ago and went, I wonder how he's going to go and ask him to walk over them. Okay? He's never seen a coloured jump pole in his life. But because he knows that if I'm going to walk him through here and my focus is over here, okay, he's like, yeah, I don't really want to do it. He will do it, okay? Not hard to see why he wasn't in the show jumping last night, isn't it? Can't even walk over a pole. So, think about this when you're working with your obstacles. So, when you get your horse going going well through your wider gap, okay? And by the way, it doesn't have to be 3 barrels. You can use 3 chairs or anything, 3 trees. If I'm in the bush, if I'm out in the bush and I come across and I want to work on this kind of stuff, I'll just find 3 trees. And I'll do this stuff with 3 trees, okay? So once I've got him going good through his wider gap, we're going to challenge him a little bit. Now, I think when I set these 2 up, I wasn't thinking about how wide the horse was I was riding. So it's going, I know I have to move my feet to get through there, but you know what? You might come across that on the trail. There's nothing to say that when you get out on the trail, you won't have to ride through a gap that big, okay? So I'll just tuck my toes in a bit. I'm going to hit a barrel. I'm going to tuck my toes in. Okay, so, you can set stuff up this wide and do it so you have to tuck your toes in, okay? You might have to pick a foot up. All of that is, because remember, this is our preparation for the trail, okay? We're aiming for happy trails. So our preparation for happy trails is to expose our horse to things in the controlled environment. So if we're going through here and I need to kick a foot out of the stirrup and pick it up, so be it, okay? I may have to do that. Have any of you ever had a horse try to run your leg up a gate post? Okay, you'll pretty quickly get your foot out of the way. And something I see a lot of is horses that actually want to drive their rider's knees into, and it's not, please don't think I'm having a go at the horse, but you'll get your horse that comes along here and you're riding to the tree and their head goes that way, and of course when their head goes that way, their shoulder goes that way, and then bang, you're brushing up a tree, okay? How do you fix that? Okay? It's a common thing. How do you fix that? Well, my first piece of advice is to go and get a riding lesson or horsemanship, do a horsemanship clinic and start to learn about moving your horse's body parts. Okay? So, I don't know if any of you saw Adele Edwards' barrel racing demonstration up here yesterday, but if you watched her move Mooney's body parts around, she just put a leg on and he just bent. Okay, you might not have to achieve that, but you want to be able to move your horse's body parts around. But your next step is you're going to, if you've got a horse that's tipping his nose this way and running your leg into the tree, okay, my advice is pull his nose into the tree. Okay, and then make him work. Make him work, make him work, make him work. Because look what I've done. I've taken his, a bit on this side, this shoulder that he was going to drop into that tree, I've taken away. And then I might go to another tree. And if he drops that shoulder in again, I'm going to pull his nose and ask him to circle again. Okay, now you can do this with obstacles at home. The bending poles that the sporting guys have got up out in the grass arena. You know, you can have that set up at home and use that to practice. If you knock one over, who cares? Just pick it up. Okay? So, you know, you're thinking about how you can control your horse so that when you go out on the trail, if you have a tree and you think that the horse is going to push your knee into it, it's like the one rein stop. It becomes just instantaneous to go, okay, horse, if you want to go this way and you want to drive my shoulder into that tree, I'm going to pick up and I'm going to turn your nose into the tree. He might brush the tree. He might knock a few leaves out. You know, that's okay. They grow back. And then you're going to work him here for a little bit and then you might pick another tree. You guys might notice I ride this horse a lot on a loose rein when I'm showing you this stuff. The reason why I'm riding him a lot on the loose rein is because I want to emphasise to you that you need to dare him to make the mistake. Okay? I can ride him around here and I can gather him up and I can have control of him and I can control where every footfall goes. Okay, so I can, and I'll ride back past my tree. I can ride back past my tree. There's no way this horse can, if he was so inclined, get away from me, okay, because I've got control of him. But when you go out on the trail, do you want to ride along like this the whole time? No. Like for most of you, it's about going out and getting on the trail and enjoying yourself. So you want to be able to drop the reins and relax. But there's something I have to say about that. What happens with a lot of horses when they go out on the trail is they do pretty much what he's doing, go to sleep. Well, actually, the riders go to sleep. And then, so they start wandering along here and you might be riding with your buddies and you're chatting to your buddies and you're looking at the pretty scenery. I don't know if you know, but in between those two ears is a brain. This one has a pretty smart, he's got a pretty good brain. Okay, there's a brain. Now, they're a little bit like kids in some ways. Horses that are fantastic and done a lot of trail riding, you won't have this problem with. But if you have a horse that hasn't done a lot of trail riding or he's a little young, is a good way. If he's a young horse or he's a little adventurous and he's looking around, if you sit here and chat to your mates and go to sleep and, you know, this little brain starts ticking, going, she's not doing anything. I'm not being given any direction. I'm going to follow these girls because she's not telling me what to do. So I'm just going to track them around the arena because, oh, see, there you go. You would be his favourite friend. Okay? Yeah, he could smell that. He'd rather you had licorice. Yeah. But, you know, that's what happens. So then what happens is your horse starts looking around. Remembering I was saying before, your horse is a prey animal, okay? He's used to surviving, okay? Horses want to survive. That's their major instinct in life. It's really not, they don't, honestly, like I make jokes about, they might like loose and over meadow hay, but they want to survive by eating hay. That's their dominant need. So, you know, if I'm sitting here and start going to sleep and start looking around and daydreaming, pretty soon he's going to start thinking, my leader, the person who I rely on for my safety, and for my direction isn't doing anything. So if she's not doing anything, I'm going to start thinking for myself. Okay? Yet again, guess where he's thinking? Okay, this time he's going to push the fence down. Okay, so, as soon as I stop giving him directions, he starts taking over. If you've got a horse that's a bit green or a bit spooky, that's when they start looking around. And that's when suddenly they might shy, or they might jump forward, or they might start walking faster, trying to get in front, or, you are in control of what's going on. So if you stop giving your horse direction, suddenly they're going to start taking over. It's that thing I talk to people all the time about in the herd situation. If I take this horse home, when he goes home on Sunday, and he gets home to the paddock Sunday night, and I put him back in with his 3 paddock mates at the moment, I know he's the top of the pecking order, okay? I know that he will walk in that paddock and they will all just go, yes, Sir Squiggles, you're back, okay? That doesn't change, okay? But, so it's the same with you, because he leads that herd, okay? They do what he wants. He gets the first food, okay? When the hay goes out at night, he goes up and eats his first, and they are submissive to him. So what happens is when you stop paying attention is that order starts to change between you and your horse gets distracted and he will start thinking about other things. And sometimes what he's thinking about isn't what you wanted to do, okay? And that's not a hell of a lot of fun. So you need to be aware of that. And that might mean, I'm not telling you to not kick back and chat with your buddies. And my friend Sarah Nolan is over here, and she took me riding on the beach last year, which was pretty damn cool. And, we rode along and we chatted, and I rode a horse that I'd never even seen before, and they all laughed because they put me in a dressage saddle. But if that horse I was riding, when he got a little wound up about things, like I'd just put my leg on him on the trail and just ask him to step across. And then, as she and I were riding along side by side, we'd be poking along and I'd say, okay, I could just ask him to step over here, or I might just ask him to step over here. This is all it takes. You might be riding along with your friends and you might just pull in a one-range stop when one of them stops, okay? You might be riding along and you're riding along a track and you're all riding along and there's a tree on the edge of the track. So you might just pick up and ride a little circle around that tree, okay? And then go just slot back in with your friends. When we take clinics on the trail out, what we will do is we will actually, we'll just be riding along and we'll stop. And we'll find like a nice grove of trees or something like that, and we'll start working the horses in that spot, just to get everybody back focused to what's going on, okay? So, and I was just talking about riding with someone like Sarah. Like, I was quite happy to go to the beach with Sarah because she's a sensible human being. You have to be a little selective about who you ride with. If you've got a horse that's green or young or inexperienced, or you're nervous, you need to be really aware about the people that you take with you when you go. We ban hoons at our place. Like, if I have a friend, she's an eventer, and she came to my house for a clinic on the trail, and she rode out the back where it's just beautiful undulating open country, and she just took one look and she said, "This place is wasted on you." And I went, "Why? What are you talking about?" And she said, "This is just made for galloping." And I went, "Yeah, well, you're not doing it today." There's a time and a place for that stuff, and it's not when you've got a group of inexperienced riders or nervous riders with you. And I can't stress enough for people how important it is to go and find good people to ride with. And if you've got an issue with your horse, maybe your horse is concerned about crossing water, and you've been working on that at home, let your friends know before you go. Talk to them and say, "Now listen, this is the problem I'm having." And you know what, if they turn around and go, "Oh, you'll be right," or "What are you worrying about?" or, "That's your problem," just don't go. Go and find some better people. In Canberra, they have some amazing trails up around the Arboretum and stuff, and but there's a lot of push bike riders up around that area as well. So, you know, it's one of those places that if you're going to go for a ride, you need to have a horse that's pretty well adept at handling push bikes going past at 60 kilometres an hour. So, you know, you might start with a little thing with that and, you know, just go for a little ride, or, you know, go and ride in a paddock where there's bikes going past, or get them used to that. Where I used to live, we used to be right next to the Snow Mountains Highway, and we would ride from home and we'd ride like down and straight on our place, but alongside the Snow Mountains Highway. Well, all of my horses were used to traffic. You know, we never rode on the road, we didn't have to. But just riding along the fence, like going, trotting out and doing distance work and stuff, they got really used to traffic, okay? Now I live in the middle of nowhere, and they never see a vehicle going past 40 k's an hour, because that's about as quick as you can go on our road. But you know, it's that thing, if I had a horse and I had to go and do a trail ride down a road, I'd go and test it first, you know? Go and ride somewhere where there's a bit of traffic about. And take some good people with you. You know, there are plenty of people out there that want to go trail riding that you do not have to ride with people who are going to get you hurt. And, you know, if you've got people who, like Warren, who think that the definition of trail riding is getting on your horse and making it walk at about 30 kilometres an hour for 8 hours, okay? There's a reason why I don't go riding with him. My horse can't keep... He's got littler horses and my horse can't keep up. This horse can't keep up because his horses just march like this, you know? And they're marching off into the bush, you know, leaving you behind. That's not fun, you know? I don't want to go and do that rubbish, okay? I want to go for a ride, I want to enjoy it. So, again, it's a good thing he's not here. So, you know, be selective about who you ride with, okay? Okay. So I just want to, and I just have got these crisscross rail here. Like I said, at home, I have set up, it's just 2 rails, sort of like this, and then the rails crisscross through the middle of it. It's a fantastic little thing to make your horse work over, because remember I said before, your horse is scared of anything that moves and makes a noise. So guess what? This can move and make a noise, especially when your horse doesn't pick his feet up over it. Oh well, I didn't want to go show jumping, so it's okay. So, you know, this is a great thing, because here's the deal. In the bush, you know, logs, you know, you're going to find a log that moves, or, you know, there's going to be, or they're going to step over a log and a snake's going to slide out from underneath it. You know, you're going to have stuff like that happen. So, you know, if you've got things like this set up, where you're actually offering the opportunity for that to move, you know, you can walk over these kind of logs all day, okay? You know, Spencer's Shetland pony can walk over these all day. You know, this is not a problem, okay? But, you know, I can set this up as a bit of a challenge for this horse. If I've got these rails crisscrossed, you know, I can go like this, and I can ask him to step in here, put a foot in the middle. Now, I just did something really bad, and I don't know if anyone saw me do it. As he stepped over, I looked down and went, where's that foot going? When I was a kid, one thing my dad taught me was that your horse has got 2 perfectly good eyes, okay? You don't need to look where his feet are going. That worked really well until I started riding motorbikes, and I discovered that you do need to look where you're going when you're riding a motorbike, okay? So, but, you know, look up. Like I was saying before, focus on where you're going, okay? Keep your eyes up. Any of you who've ever had a show jumping lesson, you know, you've been taught this. You know, don't look down there. Look up here with you guys, okay? Because this is where I'm going. I'm going forward, okay? So, has anyone got any questions? Because I am about to... Oh, God, here we go. They're just going to yell at me when I have to stop.
Stand up, Stu. Stand up.
Yes, mate? as I understand it is, and you yell at me if I get this wrong, as I'm riding along like this on a loose rein, how do I still act as the leader of this horse and keep him engaged and going forward? See these things? I love these things, okay? People think they're there to keep your ass off the ground. They're not. They're there to help you ride your horse. So what you can't see, and it's a really good question because it's something I do a lot and I'm not showing it, is that my legs are working the whole time. So I'm looking at you, talking at you. Now I can feel he's drifting to the gate, so I'll pick up. And I do an exercise in my clinics which is called the guiding exercise, and it's about drifting. And see how this horse is turning left off that fence? I'll pick him up and turn him right. So now I'll drop this. Now, I'm not doing much with my legs now. Okay, can you see how he's coming back around to you? So I'm going to pick up and turn him this way. Okay, now I'm going to just sit here and do nothing. He's drifting just slightly to the left. So what I'm doing is I'm actually improving my feel through here. So what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to feel when that horse starts to drift off. So if I'm going, so I do that with not that exercise, that guiding exercise with not a lot of leg. But then if I'm riding along the trail, and if you have a look, like when I'm riding, there's no daylight between my calf and his rib. Okay, so if I'm walking along and say Mum and I are riding along together and I'm riding a young horse and I'm riding along and I'm talking to her and it starts to drift, I'll have those legs on and I will be able to do stuff with that. So what I've done is I've established in the arena a relationship with my horse whereby I can feel where they're going to go before they go there. So the guiding exercise helps me get that feel. But then what I do is if I drop the rein and walk off and he just decides he's going to leave, I'm going to make him work. So let's say I drop the rein, I'm talking to you and we're riding along and my horse jogs off or shies. Straight away I'm going to put him to work and I'm going to make him trot small circles. I love trotting small circles. I'm going to make him trot small circles and then I'm going to drop the rein and let him go again. And you and I are going to keep talking. And if he makes a mistake, I'm going to correct him. Go back to that right thing, easy, wrong thing, difficult. Like, so if he does the wrong thing, I'm going to make him work for the privilege. I don't want to have to control every micro movement my horse makes, but I want to be improving my horsemanship all the time to where I feel what change that horse is going to make.
No.
Does that make sense? Yeah. Cool.
That's 5 more minutes.
I'll ask one more question. Good. Again, what training do I use to make my horse stand still? Exactly the same principle. If he goes to walk off at any stage, I'm going to go out, if I was training him at home, I go over there and as soon as he walked off, trot small circles, trot small circles, trot small circles, trot small circles, trot, and then I'd stop and I'd offer him the opportunity to stand still. My horses love to stand still because they never know how much work's coming up, okay? Sweaty saddle pads make good horses. There's a picture it's on the website of me riding this horse when he was a 4-year-old. If you look really closely, my face is very red, okay, and he's sweating. We're at a clinic. I was riding in a clinic. Someone was teaching me, and so same thing. And the other thing, which I'll just say really quickly, which is relating to that, you know when you're riding along on your horse and you're riding along loose rein and then the thing just trots off? And you know how I was saying about working on your one-rein stops? This is the one time I'll tell you to not do a one-rein stop, unless he's leaving town. Like if this horse takes off across his pen and bolts, I'm going to pull him in a one-rein stop. But if he just jogs off, don't pull him into a one-rein stop. Pull him into a small circle until he comes back to the walk and then let him go again. Okay? And if he goes to jog off again, and I didn't ask him to, small circle. I'll tell you what, pretty quickly, those horses will get sick of going around and around and around in small circles. Same thing, as soon as you put that foot in the stirrup, I'll carry a dressage whip, and as soon as you put that, I disengage his hindquarters, disengage his hindquarters, disengage his hindquarters, make him work around. When he stands still and you put your foot in the stirrup and he doesn't go anywhere, you don't have to get on straight away. Pat him, muck around with him, that's a big thing. If you're going to go trail riding, you have to be able to put them up to stuff and get on them. So, but I better go. If you want to, if I can send the horse with someone, I will stay and I'll come and I'll answer some more of your questions. So, but thank you guys for coming and enjoy the rest of Equitana. That's his favourite bit.